is oriented in a special way, with each of its four corners facing the cardinal directions. When the sun rises during the spring equinox, the light strikes the steps at an angle. The spectacle this phenomenon creates draws thousands of people every year. On September 21st, the fall equinox, the shadow serpent rises again into the sky. Did they know that this light miracle was going to happen?
Because of the astronomical knowledge. It was a question of calculation.
But I mean, it was a question of calculation that couldn't be off a fraction of an inch. I mean, if you're going to build this huge thing, you can't be wrong. You can't just move it.
No,
so they knew this before they were building it.
Yes, absolutely. God Kukulkan, he taught them in astronomy, in mathematics. They show how he descended the stairs from heaven to mankind, how he left mankind again with the promise to return.
Are you telling us that the god Kukulkan was an extraterrestrial?
Yes. Kukulkan was an extraterrestrial.
The concept of gods descending to Earth is common in religions and cultures all around the world. But were these fictional gods of mythology or real visitors from another world? Ancient astronauts who came down to Earth long ago. Similar religious legends are found in the South American country of Bolivia. At an altitude of over 12,000 feet, descendants of the Inca pay homage to their presterio, their patron saint. But over 1,500 years ago, at Tiwanaku, their ancestors celebrated their great god Viracocha. Eric von Daniken believes Viracocha came down from the sky, bringing to his people knowledge of astronomy, mathematics, and agriculture. According to archaeologists, Tiwanaku was built in 500 AD, but others claim that it was built almost 15,000 years before that. At that time, no culture in the world could have constructed it. The mystery is, who built Tiwanaku? Von Daniken believes the answer may lie a few hundred yards away in the ruins of Pumapunku.
I have reasons to believe that Pumapunku once was an Earth base of extraterrestrials. In Pumapunku, we have strange technology from another world.
Stone building blocks are intricately cut with laser precision. They could have fit together like pieces of a puzzle, a sophisticated architectural achievement for a primitive culture. But von Daniken suggests that there is more evidence that the builders of these two cities had help from teachers from the sky. This block has been etched with a perfect groove. Today, we would use a diamond-tipped saw to achieve this kind of accuracy, a technology only developed this century. Here lies yet another mystery few can explain.
Whoever built Tiwanaku came up with a very ingenious method for holding together the huge stones which they used to build the site. They carved a groove in the edge, and into this groove they would pour a molten alloy, which later hardened into a staple.
Eric von Daniken believes that extraterrestrials brought these sophisticated technologies down to the people of the region. The natives were awed by these strange visitors and worshipped them. Experts say Pumapunku was an ancient temple. But was it a place to worship gods of mythology or true living beings?
Today we make a construction like a church. We say this is a temple, and in here a spiritual being, the God in spirit, lives in this temple. My idea is that Viracocha, but not only Viracocha, other so-called gods and other places in our world were extraterrestrials, and they were misunderstood as gods by our primitive ancestors. They saw these beings leaving the earth with fire and smoke, and so they believed they must be gods, although they were not gods.
Well, have you ever seen a UFO?
Oh, good point. Sometimes I have the impression when Eric von Däniken shows up, they run away. I never saw a UFO. It's a shame.
Well, if you had seen one, what would you say to them?
Well, first, I would be afraid. Because it's strange, you know, they are not used to something like this. And then, naturally, I would try to make communication, however, by language or telepathy. And then I would ask some questions, a lot of questions. But the other way around, how would you react if you, of a sudden, would see a UFO?
Well, if it's in the distance, it would be fine. I'd go, wow, look, there's, you know. But if they were confronting me, I mean, right there, I guess my first thought would be, why me? Though Eric and I have never seen a UFO or an extraterrestrial, the fact remains many people claim they have. In light of this phenomenon, advanced technology may help us communicate with extraterrestrials in ways our ancestors could not have imagined. Launched in the 1970s, the Pioneer satellite first explored Jupiter. After a close encounter with the largest planet in our solar system, Pioneer continued its journey into deep space. Fixed to the side of the tiny spacecraft is a gold disc. Etched on the disc are chemical symbols, a map of Earth's location in the solar system, and the figures of a man and a woman. The man has his hand raised in a friendly greeting to anyone or anything that might encounter Pioneer on its journey into the unknown. Remember El Astronato? The figure carved into a mountainside? It appears the ancient Nazcans were trying to communicate with extraterrestrials. 3,400 years later, we're still looking to the sky and wondering, is anybody out there?
Chariots of the Gods will be right back.
At the beginning of the program, I asked you to consider two provocative questions. Are we alone in the universe? And if not, have we ever been visited by beings from another planet? And for the past hour, we've explored the mysteries of the ancient world through the eyes of Eric von Däniken. Did extraterrestrials visit the Earth, imparting wisdom and technology to our ancestors? You're going to have to decide that for yourself. But at the end of the 20th century, new technology allows us to examine our world and other worlds for signs that we might not be alone. Now, our program ends here, but our search for clues, both on Earth and in the heavens, will continue. For Eric von Däniken and anyone else out there who might be watching, I'm Richard Karn. Good night.
Promised to return one day to Earth. We have this promise of returning one day. Now you ask, why not within 2 years? Well, every child knows that the distance between the stars are very, very large. So you cannot reach such distances in short time. It always will take a few thousand years before they return. Now the last visit may have took place, let's say, 2,500 years ago or 3,000 years ago. Okay, it's time that they return. And we should be prepared for this possibility.